Good evening. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited to present to you guys my research on the topic US-China Semiconductor Hegemony War and Global Supply Chain Changes interpreted from the perspective of the political theories. Our objective is to shed light on and analyze the US-China Semiconductor Hegemony conflict based on the power tension theory and alliance tension theory. Let's start by delving into the theory behind our research. U.S. political scientist Organsky proposed power tension theory. Power tension theory said the nation tends to have inclinations toward dominance, and international politics is the result of struggles for power. Power disparities lead to power struggles where power and satisfaction are key variables. When a dominant power emerges, the system stabilizes, but when challenger states rise, instability ensues. If a challenger state suppresses the dominant power, the likelihood of armed conflict increases. Korean political scientist Kim Woo-sang proposed alliance tension theory. Alliance tension theory emphasized the importance of alliance support for a hegemony state to uphold its order. Alliance can enhance a country's national power not only through internal factors like industrialization, but also by forming external alliances. A hegemony state acting as a global government provide public goods and maintain a power advantage with its allies to deter challenges from emerging power. The risk of war increases when the power balance between the hegemony alliance and the challenger one becomes similar. In this study, among the factors that Organsky considered for national power, the power and hierarchy between countries were defined through market share and export share by the semiconductor sector. Limited to the criteria of industrialization, especially economic dictator, the United States, which has the upper hand in most semiconductor fields, was set as the hegemony power. And Japan, China, Taiwan, and Korea and the Netherlands, which have the largest export share in each sector, were selected as the great power. The Netherlands ASML monopolized in lithography equipment, which is why it's great power even though it's ranked second in the export data. This is our power tension theory hierarchy structure. Middle and small countries ranked second, 10th, and 11th, 20th in the export share of the same item, respectively. Among the countries, the selected countries with a democratic index of 6 or higher were classified as satisfied country, and those below was classified as a dissatisfied country. The International Security Stretch Guideline released by Biden administration on March 3, 2021 states China as the one only competitor has the potential to continue to challenge a stable and open international order by combining economic, diplomacy, military, and technology capability. This is why we choose the China as challenger. It can be seen that China's global export volume of integrated circuits is continuously increased from 2016 to 2022. In other words, China currently has a high export share of semiconductor devices and assemblies, and the trade value of IC chip is more than doubling compared to the past. So this U.S. Semiconductor Company is leading the global market in general, and due to China's rising, the U.S. has imposed tariffs on imports from China and imposed restriction on export of parts and equipment made using American technology to China since 2018. As a result, China ranked third in the unmatched import item market for U.S. semiconductor in 2022. According to the theory, the hegemony imposed sanctions to check emerging challenger China, reducing China's semiconductor imports to America and making it difficult to produce and strengthen its semiconductor capability. As a hegemony power with advanced semiconductor core technology, the United States is implementing supply chain building excluding China while promoting multilateral technological alliance with allies with high technology in which fields such as Netherlands, Japan, Korea, and Taiwan to gain an edge in the hegemony war in China. This is the one of the alliance. This is the CHIPS Act of 2022. So we made a hypothesis. It's according to the alliance strategy theory. I represent import X and YZ represent the sum of import trade values and export trade value agreement between I and J when country I and country J are not the same. The number of N is 6, and Japan, the Netherlands, Taiwan, China, and Korea, which correspond to hegemony country and great powers, were selected. AJ indicates that J can be anything regardless of each country which is among the 6. Market share represents the relative size of nodes as the market share of J. This study suggests the hypothesis that Chinese market share in 2022 will be lower than that in 2019. In the Python network analysis chart, the edge and node were expressed using the trade value of semiconductor manufacturing equipment in 2019 and 2022. The arrow direction indicates the direction of export, and the thickness indicates the size of the value. Compared to 2019, in 2022, Japan, the Netherlands, and the United States exported more to Taiwan and Korea, and the size of nodes in Taiwan, Korea, and the Netherlands increased. And China market share decreased in 2022 when the U.S. proposed the Semiconductor Act compared to 2019. This situation means the dominant trying to control the supply of advanced semiconductor manufacturing equipment or public goods as a state-of-the-art semiconductor hegemony. The U.S. has allied with Japan and the Netherlands to restrict export to Korea and Taiwan instead of China seeking to increase its national power by rallying its allies by heightening export to Korea and Taiwan and in proposing as a chip for alliance. Therefore, the supply chain will be allies U.S. and China as bipolar system. In the case of China, it includes a stretch for localizing semiconductors to respond to the USA in its 7th development stretch in 2021 and focus on advanced technologies. It is an attempt by China to strengthen its capabilities in the chain process against the dominant and its allies and to reduce its high dependence on imports. China's self-sufficient rate has increased as expected to rise in 2023, the third chips. So it has been excluded from the supply chain, but focusing on technology development to challenge the hegemony power alone. So this is our conclusion. Due to the U.S. semiconductor law and export sanction, China's share of manufacturing equipment export in 2022 decreased compared to 2019. According to the theories and data, the global semiconductor supply chain undergoes a reorganization into a bipolar system, with China isolated due to checks and allies of great powers, with technological predominance led by the U.S. This is our reference, and thank you very much.
To act, it just seems that, oh, yes, that one. It just seems like American policy, it's so dependent on American policy. I was wondering from your expertise, moving forward, how do you think that's going to impact the market? Do you think they're going to just, whatever the U.S. decides to do, if that's going to really implicate these great powers, or what you think about the laws and the different acts that are now being implemented?
So you said the U.S. politics being affected by the...
Yes. So for example, in your conclusion, you had how the U.S. laws, are a big factor. I was wondering if you had any other thoughts on that in terms of who is going to be a great power and how that influences China and how they distribute the chips.